making it tonight. Thank you again for making it tonight on this recurring session of our Thursdays. Again, really quick, my name is Herbert Mugume Diego. I'm a financial professional and I'm usually here on Thursdays from time to time sharing with my colleagues. I have tonight a special guest, Mr. Olivier Mohamnyangabo is my president, but I'll give him just a quick second or a minute to go ahead and introduce himself, and then we'll circle back to him. Go ahead, Olivier.
Thank you so much, Herbert. I don't know if I can call myself president when the general president is there.
No worries,
I will
man.
talk in presence of our community, DFW, which I guess our host, Imakere, belongs to. Um, my name exactly is Olivier Mwamnyangabo, and I'm the president of RCA, DFW, Abilene, Waco, and Oklahoma so far. And I'm very honored from Imakire to actually invite us to actually share what's very important for our community. And we're gonna discuss more of that, and I'm proud he was able to have Herbert, you, the most trusted president now, because
Oh,
they
thank
voted
you.
for a good reason. So
Appreciate
yeah,
it.
thank you, and pretty much that's the summary of who I am. I'm a civil engineer by professional, but I'm a policy holder from Imakire, so I'm gonna witness
Yes.
the adventure.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you again, Olivier. It's always a pleasure to have you here. And actually, you kind of delved a little bit into our talk here, but we'll circle back to that. And we appreciate again your presence with us tonight. As you can see on the screen, our theme tonight is building financially resilient communities through proactive financial planning. And uh, by mentioning of the communities, it's quite interesting when you think of a community. A community, one may think of, our, you know, typical traditional perspectives of, you know, certain people, groups, diaspora communities, RCA, but there are several versions of communities. And if you look at this in a more broad way, I looked up the definition of a community for sure. It says to be a social unit of individuals that have common or share in common certain characteristics, interests, values, geographical location. So you may be in several communities, right from a family, your family, you know, your faith groups, your nationalities, your whatever, business communities. So we are involved in different communities at a time and many more other communities at the same time. So it is very intentional to call it communities here because we happen to be in pretty much all these communities. And if we can really exert our influence and, positively impact those communities through resiliences when it comes to finances, because that's one of the most pressing uh, piece of life that happens to be common across everybody on this side of the world, or in so saying, in the entire world. So tonight, let's take it further to this sense of earning income through labor and creating wealth through ownership, through investments. Because as you understand, as you would see, as you know from our common experiences out there, our communities, most of the people in our communities, be it our families, be it the other communities that we happen to be in, you would find about 80–90% of the time, 90% of the people in those communities are earning their income through labor. And when we talk about building financially resilient communities, we gotta look about a shift from this traditional path of earning income through labor, because labor alone, once that labor is affected, then income is gone or severely affected for sure. So we gotta move our communities from move ourselves, move our communities, move our people, move everybody that we can think of to an even more better way of generating wealth through ownerships, through investments, because that's the dream. That's the commonly shared dream that every community, once realized this green part of our talk tonight, then we are better communities. If we can generate wealth through ownership, through investment. And how do we do that? How do we move from earning income through labor to generating wealth through ownership, through investment? And mark my words here, because we're talking about owning up something. We're talking about investing, getting something through the principle and strategies of investment. Now, let's talk about this perspective of Robert Kiyosaki. This is my favorite. It has been my uh, Bible when it comes to moving life forward. And the perspective there is actually more around uh, Robert Kiyosaki's book called The Cash Flow Quadrant. He explains the four types of sources of income. And right on the screen right now, you can only see half of it. We are going to see the other half in a minute here. But he said in the cash flow quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki, most of you know him because he's a gentleman and he's still alive today. He's famous on this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But with the other book that he wrote much later on after Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he focused on the rich dad. And in that book that he was focusing alone on rich dad, he called that book Cash Flow Quadrant. And we're sharing his perspective here just to pick up our sense and head in the direction we want to go. Now, he says, from a practical standpoint, very pragmatic, that there are four angles or four quadrants that we can that people belong in to generate their income. Now, on this first piece, we are looking on the left side, there are employees and there's self-employed. And as you can see here, he says that these two folks or these two quadrants are literally the same in a sense that they trade time for dollars, for money. So that way they have no leverage. He said that, basically you have to clock in. If you're an employee, you have to literally trade your time, to give in your time to be able to get money. You can't get both. That's how the formula is if you happen to be in any of these two categories. And here he's very clear and says that to be actually able to call yourself rich or having wealth or being financially independent or financially free, you have to have these two variables. You have to have both time and money. And if you happen to be on this side, either an employee or self-employed, and we'll go deeper on this part of self-employed, but if you happen to be either self-employed or employee, then you have to give one to get the other. So you will never, ever get both. And that way you can say you're rich because you always have to trade uh, one of these two critical factors or variables for wealth. So that way here we have no leverage. And before we even get to see the other side, let's look at the part of the dangers of being on this side from a financial planning and insurance perspective that we happen to talk most of the time here. Look at this curve. The curve that goes up, flat, down. And this is actually not Robert's perspective when it comes to this curve. I had to add it here just to reiterate the perspective that was just being shared by Robert here in his book. Now, the source right there, as you can see down here, it's a US Bureau of Labor Statistics. This was a research that was done over a very long time, since the end of the Second World War until back in 2018. They summed it up on their research and said that if you look at the X, Y axis and X axis on this vertical side, that's the amount of money in US dollars, of course. And then down here, it's aging as we go. So we age over time, and professionally as we're working, as we're heading out to earn wealth or do earn income, we start out strong in the early ages. As you can see, in the ages of 20s, early 30s, your income is growing. It may be growing even to higher than these numbers. But the fact is, it may be 20, 30, 100, whatever, 200, but it's growing. And over time, as you age in late 30s, mid 40s, it flats out, gets flat. So you're no longer able to kind of, hustle as much because maybe you have, more responsibilities now. If you're a lady, then you have kids in, you have to, add on other natural pulls that you can't avoid that are, most often very inevitable. And then as we age further down, we get to retire around age, 65. I think right now retirement is kind of pushed even further away to 67 or 70. We retire eventually. Then the income goes down. When we retire, usually half or two-thirds of your income goes away. And then you get to rely on the Social Security. Now, this is a curve that is lived by folks on this side of the curve, either employees or self-employed. With self-employed, this is a traditional self-employment where you have to do the work yourself. Yes, you own the job for sure, but then you have to do it yourself. Maybe you don't have a boss yet for sure, but the fact that you're still doing that same thing, even though no one is above you to tell you what to do, still, if something was to happen to your life or, in any way get sabotaged along the way as you're doing whatever you're doing, then your income is affected. Now, look at this curve here. This is the most interesting piece because uh, in this later age, in these advanced ages, you get to need more money. And that's a fact because your body at this time is now more susceptible to disease. You need more access to, monies. And actually, even in these young ages, you still have those natural factors that can come and hit you. But even without the death or the crazy disabilities and stuff, if you keep living, longevity is good, yes, but time comes when your body subsides and you're no longer strong as you used to be, and then now you need more help. You need people to help you. You need, some housework and chores to be run by some other people. And it happens to be the fact that that's when the money goes down. We've seen people at Walmart who are greeting in advanced ages because they still need that money and have to step out and work. And communities are not ready to take them. Professional communities are not ready to take them because their ages have descended for sure. Now, this is a curve or a situation that is lived by 95% of the people. 95% of the people. The other 5% are on this left side, as you can see there. The left side, we have 5% of the people that get to be on the right side of the curve as shared by Robert Kiyosaki's quadrant. Sorry there. So businesses, look at the side. When you own a business, you're literally leveraging a system to get dollars. So that way you have the time and you have the money. So the catch here becomes a system. The catch becomes a system. How do you get a system that would help you to generate dollars that you want? So that way you're no longer, risking your life and your time. Then the other piece is investing. How do you use investment? You're leveraging money. So the right side that we're talking about here is being able to own a business that allows you to leverage a system. And that's what we talk about, moving from earning income through labor. So on the left side here, you're using labor, That's why you have to put in time to get dollars. But on the right side here, you're using systems to get dollars so that way you're able to generate real wealth. You're using strategies of investment to get dollars so that way you're able to generate wealth. So, how do we move from the left side to the right side? And that's what we offer tonight when we talk about uh, owning a policy, investing and having a policy that earns interest, as we're going to delve deeper, a little bit deeper into here. Now, to summarize these four quadrants, here's what we're offering. We have an opportunity here, if I can say. As we said, this is a pathway. It starts from E through S, through B, through I. Where most of the people here, I would guess, I would think, I would expect, I would say, we have jobs. Most people have jobs. Now, how do we move from, having a job that you're risking to lose at some point to being self-employed? We provide an opportunity. Now we take it on from E, we go to S. Here we talk about the chances of being self-employed. We talk about the chances of owning your job and own it up. And not just own it up, we provide opportunities, chances to own a system in your self-employment. You leverage the system, you own a system that works for you. Now you become a business owner. Both S and B at the same time on Thursdays here. That's what we talk about. Every Thursday, we're here discussing about these kind of strategies that moves us from E through S to B and I at the same time. So the communities we've been talking about is, how do we build financially resilient communities? This is how we do it. We move our people, we move our friends, we move our families, we move ourselves from owning jobs to, rather from having jobs to owning them. And to not just own them, but instead leverage systems in our businesses, the system that will be able to help us to get money. That's why we provide a chance to own a policy, but not just own a policy, also provide it, retail it to our communities, to our friends, to everyone out there. Now, with this, let's be a little bit more practical and go down to actually how do we do that? Look at the point there that how do we should think of protecting our standards of living first, or in the standard of living of those that we love, of our communities, of our members, of our friends. Now, on this graph here, this is very visual. I like visual stuff. If you look at the the most lower part here, that's a charity. Then we have a bare necessity. We have a getting by, comfort levels, and luxury lifestyles. These are lifestyles that we get to live. Now, we get to ask ourselves, our standards of living, where are they? Are we on charity? Because charity these are people that are on uh, food stamps, on at the masses of others. Yes, we have them in our communities. And how do we help them as leaders, as 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 heads of families, as responsible folks? How do we move ourselves in our communities to better stages of getting by and comfort and luxury style lifestyles? And this is where we get to show the strategies. How do we do that? We use these two tools. We have the asset tool and the income tool. And as you can see, they are very actively right now pushing forward, pushing this standard of living ball from the grassroots level here. Where is it now? To the getting by. But if as you grow these two tools, as you grow your income, as you grow your assets, you push this thing further up. And the challenge, the goal, the destiny, as we don't want, is to get this ball, the green ball here of our standards of living, to the luxury top there. Now we have the clues. We got to grow assets. We got to grow income. to move our standards of living upward. But what keeps your family standards of living from roaring downward? These are the two things, again, we got to reiterate, reassess every time as we go by. How is our income doing? How is our assets doing? And you can only grow these two very effectively if you are on the right side of the circle that we were looking a few minutes ago. Now, you can see the ball, it is moving upward, but I'll tell you what, there are factors, there are other forces, natural factors, natural things that we have no influence, no control over, that would pull back us to the low levels of charity, of bare necessity, of getting by. Even as we're growing this income, if any of this income in itself, any of the income or assets in itself gets affected, then the ball goes down. You would be lucky if you can hold it firm where it is right there. But you can also embrace strategies that will push it up and forward. We're surely going to be looking at what are the forces that, let alone the asset going away or income, losing the income, what are the other natural factors that would push your ball down, that would, be working against yourself, against your plans, against your will. Look at these four, actually five. These are factors outside of your control that can put downward pressure on your standard of living. We think of retirement. We were talking about aging. We just looked at the curve, how your income goes flat and then downward. Disability. If you're disabled and then your income is gone, imagine losing a job or, some natural cause, take away your income. Then your ball goes all the way down. Death in a life, in a family, could cause this standard of living to go down again. Inflation. I gotta sell this on this one because nowadays we are in these crazy times where, prices keep going up as in our face. Inflation, high prices, taxes. These are things that we have literally no control over that are, pushing us downward, pushing the standard of living downward. Now, you may have pushed hard. Now you can see your ball of standard of living were where? Comfort level. It was at comfort level. You were pushing up. Now, in the face of policy, or rather in the face of retirement, in the face of disability, in the face of death, how do you position yourself to hold firm your standard of living and not go down? That's how we brought up this blue thing here. You put a staff, something that would hold firm and say, wherever I am right now, I'm not going to go back down. That's how we introduce a permanent life insurance policy, which can provide a wage. This is a wage. Wage, not the wage of payment. No, no, no. A wage of a firm wall against that hold against any pressure. So it provides a wage that will help your family's standard of living to stay in place no matter what happens. No matter what happens in your family, in your life, in your communities, friends and folks out there. Just take a simple imagination. If any of your assets is gone or any of your income, your income sources is gone, then this thing is going to crumble down. But as we will hear from experiences tonight, once you have a wage, something you put in place that would hold firm when taxes hit you, when you hold firm when disability hit you, when you hold firm when death in a family hits, then you can say, okay, now I am financially planning. Now, how do we do this? A permanent life policy, that's what I just talked about. What does it provide? Most people may not be aware about a permanent life policy, but we call it, in most cases, a CVLI, a cash value life insurance policy. So most of this CVLI or a life policy does provide several benefits. I listed 8 of them here in a circle. And they have riders. These are riders that we call in the policy that are embedded in the same policy that you get. You make one premium pay over time, maybe monthly or quarterly or annually, and it has riders that allows you to pay more money into your policy to increase your whatever death benefit or cash value or whatever benefit you're targeting. And the more you fund it, the faster your cash value grows. Now you had a wage that is holding against a protection, as we call it in insurance here, a protection. But then you have these riders that can help you do the investment in the same wage or protection. Now, in that case, if you become totally disabled, then, in most cases, you get, a waiver of disability, you get your policy cash-ins, you get those monies that start coming in when you are still living. We've said that several times here. But since we're going to be listening from a first-hand experience, let me wrap it up here by telling you the benefits that you could really enjoy by having a permanent life policy, especially the one that has interest in it. You could use it as a loan, as a banking institution for yourself. You use a loan option in your policy for the flexibility of sourcing your funds. You might need money for emergency. You might need it for your education or your kids' education, or you buying a car or mortgage or a vacation. But the point is here, the normal traditional line of a bank, it would have to take you through approval process with the possibility of denial. You could be denied when you applied. You've seen that several times, I believe. Loan amounts are limited by the bank determination. You may be wanting 100,000 and they say, no, sir, we give you 20,000. There's interest rate that is based on your credit rating. If you have a bad credit, then you get hit hard. And then you must have to pay back in a specific time frame. If you can't hit those times, then there's a collection, which in most cases could even be aggressive and take you to collection and garnishment of your properties. Now, with your policy, this is the side you can compare to the traditional bank. You have no approval process. Whatever amount you have in your policy, then you're able to get it and get it quick. And you're sure that at that point you cannot be turned down. The loan amount is not limited to someone's determination. It's only limited to your cash value, to whatever amount you have grown in your policy. The interest rate on whatever amount you get to advance yourself from your policy, it's usually low compared to the traditional bank rates. And no fixed payment plan. If you can't pay, then you know for sure that it will come down out of your payouts at the end of your policy or whenever it's due for payout. No credit check, the amount, whatever you get is not based on your credit report, but it certainly will have to it reduces your value, your cash value that you have in a policy as you take it out for sure. Now, to sum it up here, I wanted to show you really quick a little bit about the cost of it. What does it take? Now, these are pretty crazy lines if you look them, from the outset. But the straight line here talks about the cost it takes to own a policy, a permanent cash value whole life, or a permanent policy in itself, if I may say. So it's usually flat. It's very fixed. You have it one in place and then it doesn't really change over time. And as you can see, our life expectancy age, it may be somewhere 80, 90, wherever you place it. But if you take the other term, or because in life insurance, we have either permanent or temporary. So temporary, we call it term. Permanent, it's permanent until you're dead, until you're no longer alive, or, permanent policies usually go around till the age of 100. Some policies goes to 120. But the threshold of 100 in itself is too high as well. Because life expectancy, I think, in the US is around somewhere, maybe 83 or 80. So uh, you can see the permanent policy cost cuts through age, constant, fixed, not changing. And the other temporary options and solutions, we have a level term, which is, term is term. You may have it for a certain time. It's flat, yes, for sure, as you can see here. And once that term goes by, then you take another term. And the other term comes with an increased premium. That's how the curve starts going up. The other option of term is annual renewable. You could renew every year. So that one increases every year. So it's always going up all the way. So that's how we had age, and then we have the premiums on this side. That's how premiums grow. But our interest in a permanent option is the fact that the price does not change over time. As you age, it's constant and flat out. And finally, this is my last piece. Your agents, whoever invited you here, or the person that is helping you, can help you to protect those you care about. They can protect you. They can help you to protect yourself, your communities, by obtaining a life insurance option, a life insurance policy that fits most of your budgets, that is right in the right amount of coverage. That is the type of insurance coverage that fits your needs, which may be a blend of combination of both. It could be permanent or it could be temporary, depending on the amount of, you want to spend on the solution. Those are things that can be studied and advised about by your advisor, by your agent, by your financial professional. And that way, you know for sure that you have protected yourself. You're placing a wage of protection here, and not just a protection, but also growing your standard of living forward. You're investing within your protection, and you're getting most of these benefits that we talked about all in one and single premium. So thank you so much for this. With that, I want to cut it off for now tonight and pass it on to uh, my brother Olivier to share this experience as a leader, as a customer, he's been through most of these things, and we are gracious for him to be willing to talk through to us about what we are sharing here, and maybe feel free to also navigate it your way, the way you look at it and the experiences you're having in your own life and your community. Thank you.
Thank you, Herbert. Thank you so much, President. It is it is a pleasure, but it is also um and kind of like a tough speak after the science you just gave us. It's really scientific opportunity to learn because it's hard to actually understand, in my view,
Mm,
when you have not understand or you when you have not experienced the challenge that comes with it, you know. And in my personal view, it's really important for our audience. I'm not talking about you as Herbert, you know more than anybody, I guess, and Imakire, but just talking about the audience. It's really not just what he said, but that's like a roadmap, what he was presenting. But to understand the roadmap is to sit with one of your agent or someone who's presenting you the coverage, to actually sit and then discuss
mm,
it and understand what's going on, because our personal life has changed, not because we had to rush it to do it, but because we prevented that rush.
mm,
We took it in the right time, and we did it in the right time, that we were not struggling for, to accommodate what we had to do. But it was the right choice, if I can say that, if I can call it, to say, okay, let me just make it as an investment. It's hard to understand.
mm,
Don't get me wrong. as audience, do not take it as like, oh, this is for rich people, this is for people who have means to do it. No, it is at some point, but it is because you have took it in the rush time. But when it's not rush time, you actually feel comfortable because how many times do you stop by at Starbucks and buy a five, six, $7 a cup of coffee? We sell Rwanda sell the best coffee in the world, but yet we stop by a Starbucks, meaning we have failed to buy, I mean, to cook a coffee at home, but yet we stop by. That's gonna cost you a lot. That's an example. So that's the same for insurance, life insurance. It's when you decide. The best time to decide it is the best time when you actually comfortable. Not the
Mm,
best, not when you actually in needs, because in needs, it means you don't have money for it.
for sure, yes. Mm,
So that's how I kind of like want to tell my colleagues or in the audience
mm,
to say, hey, this is not a, it seems like a science, but also it takes time to sit with your agent and talk
mm,
about it
mm, mm.
because I had so many questions. Like, I mean, I guess it probably took Imakire a day based on my personal life, character,
Yeah.
attitude to
Mm,
understand everything.
yeah.
But it depends. It depends. It just challenge your agent, but do not afraid to
Mm,
jump in and question it. At the end
yeah.
of the day, you're gonna need it. And if you need it in the rush time, at the end of the time,
Mm.
it's gonna really cost you. So
Very good.
better for me, it
Yes.
was the best time.
I actually thank you, Olivier. I actually like the fact that you mentioned the idea of, investing time to understand what you're doing. And I appreciate you bring that point there because we're not supposed to rush into these things when we actually don't understand them. That's why we end up having those, hard stops, people opting out and, turning their back on something that is very precious. And it's so fun and great when you see leaders, people, embracing it by and by. Of course, we have an influx of people coming into the industry and, do half-baked knowledges there, here and there. And people get to draw those biases, which I totally understand. But it is our challenge as leaders to get to explain these things. And I'm glad to see folks like, in the audience. You go ahead and open up your mic, please. We are getting close to our end of the time. Sorry, Olivier, not to cut you off. I will circle back to you if the audience gives us a chance as we go. But as a leader, you're a leader, you're a community leader, you have the
Yeah.
policy. Now you can talk from the experience, and
On the
that's what we
on
do
the
as leaders.
side,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, on the side of leadership, it is even much more of what we need to actually exercise
Mhm,
and practice with our community. It is important because it's really, really sad and it really deepen ourselves in a sorrow when someone lose their loved ones and they don't have insurance, life insurance, and you're like, okay, how much can we even give? Because we
mm,
can't even have enough to give.
mm,
We
mm,
can contribute as much as we want based on our emotions, feelings, but at the end of the day, it will never satisfy the loss of your beloved one.
mhm,
So we have seen that and we do much as a community to actually help and tubyita gutabara cyangwa
mm,
kugoboka abantu.
mm,
So it's really a very hard part because at the end of the day, yes, we do have, you know, estimated money to deliver
mm.
an envelope, and then we go there, we be with them, Muchirio. But at the end of the day, you can't really match what
Yes.
you really feel for the
Mm,
family
mm,
loss. you
mm,
know, and it kind of like really it exposes us every day, every time. I mean, not every day, but every time it happens to
mm,
our community. You
mm,
can't believe we have over 3,000 people. Unfortunately, we can go by without at least, I mean, 2 months, 3 months without losing, a family member.
mm,
So you kind of like feel sorry, but at the same time, you're like, okay, there is an opportunity
mm.
to actually, help these factors or
Sure,
impact.
for sure, for
And
sure.
that's when, for leadership side of it, is guys welcome and challenge the life insurance opportunities. Challenge it. Go for
Mm,
it. That way, if we come, whatever how much we're gonna give you, whatever the link up WhatsApp GoFund we're gonna create, at least it's gonna do something, but
mm,
it's not gonna do more. I mean, or what you want.
mm,
So we contributing, we are supporting, but if you have life insurance, at least
mm,
you're leaving the family behind
mm.
in a good shape.
Very good.
That's what I
Actually,
can share.
thank you so much, and I'm glad you mentioned about that one. I'm in one of the communities that refer to that point you just ended with there. They refer to that as a double death. You know, dying, yes, you had a death in a family, but even those that you're leaving behind, they start, a downward spiral of life instead of, and we have options where you can leave them in even better shape, and they keep going up and forward as you are gone. Just by the fact that you're gone, they get better. I mean, they wouldn't want to get rid of you just so they can get better, but it's so sad when one leaves and then the rest that are staying behind are, also in far worse shape than where they were before. Now, I see in the audience, I see a number of folks here, my fellow leaders. I'm glad to have Marcel Shaka, my good brother from the New England, I guess, and Murergwa, Emery. These are fellow leaders that have, I believe, embrace this idea and do understand the concept for sure. And I'm so lucky to have them tonight on this talk. They can share a word or two. But if you're in the audience, go ahead and open up your mic, please, and ask a question, intervene, interject in here, share your idea or whatever question you have. Olivia and myself will be open to share back to, support and answer whatever question you may be having. But again, it is my pleasure to see the leaders tonight. Uh, Mary, welcome. Marcel, if you can open up your mic and greet us, please. It's a pleasure and a honor to have you in our audience tonight. I don't know if it's your first time here.
Yeah, Murahoneza.
Muraho cyane.
So this is so good. Thank you for organizing this. Yes, it's my first time to join
Oh,
this
for real?
conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I can't emphasize enough the role of this type of backup, if I would call it like that,
Yes.
because I see in our communities, as you mentioned, we lose our loved ones, and I see the GoFundMe list here and there, but I'm sure it is not going to help
Mm,
enough.
mm,
Um, I remember when we had a meeting recently. I know we met in DC, Herbert and Olivier. One
mm,
of our colleagues mentioned this and mentioned, say, how can we contribute to help our fellow community members in case one of us, one family lost our loved ones. And I heard of it, I was like, I think contributing cannot help a
mm.
lot, even if, yes, it helps some, but it
That's
is
true.
not enough. There are actually systems that were created to help in that moment.
Mm,
So I'm glad that you brought this opportunity to the community. I have been doing this probably since 2015,
mm.
and I'm a believer that it is the right thing to do.
Awesome. Awesome. Very
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Thank you, and keep it up.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Thanks for interjecting in there. Mary says she's not in a position to share, but Mary is the vice president of Arizona. These are community leaders that are that have embraced this idea and do understand the concept. And my dream is to get to all on one team at some point, and then we steer as leaders. I see you, Emma. I'll be right with you. As leaders, we all steer this boat of communities to in one better direction. And I can see, I don't want to say like Martin Luther in Atlanta, that we have a dream that that time will come at some point. Yes, go ahead, Immaculate, please. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so very much both for a great discussion here. This is always, I wouldn't say it's timely. I believe it's overdue because, yeah, as my president Olivier was saying, we don't want to have always to be reactive. Building those financially strong communities starts with planning ahead. Planning ahead of time, plan without pressure, like Olivier was saying. You don't have to wait until something happens and then be like, hey, what can I do now? Start early when you don't have to rush into any crisis. Because our families, I always say it over and over. We all buy our homes, we buy home insurance, we buy our car, we buy car insurance. But what is important? My family, myself, or the those assets I buy for myself. So we have to put actual families ahead of everything that we do own because we acquire those because we are there. I go to work, I make money, I buy all those. But if something was to hit me, that check is not going to come. If it's not coming, everything that I built is going to go to waste. Because if I'm paying a mortgage and I'm not able to go to work, that home is not going to be there for my children that I really worked so hard for. So when families really learn how to protect their income, prepare for emergencies, and make better financial decisions, they become more confident and secure instead of having to rush into a panic mode when I get a critical illness. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing now? How is my mortgage going to be paid? Or how my kids going to go to school? I have to sit back and plan ahead of time, not just for myself, but for my children as well.
For sure.
Because as we all know, with life insurance, the earlier you do, the better. Because you show that very well with that permanent life. You start your child early, they are all in the ride, the low premium forever. Even if they become 70, it's going to be the same amount they paid when they were 10. So let's continue learning together as we move from reacting to problem solving as a community, as a people. That is when we're going to live really those American dream that we really all strive to work so hard for. Thank you so much both again for a great presentation. As always, every time, every week here, the same link. Marcel, if this is your first time, don't miss, keep your seat. We're always here every Thursday, same time. Thank you again, both, for a great presentation.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. We're coming to the top of our hour. All right. Before we wrap it up, let me give Olivier one more second or few more seconds to wrap it up with his conclusive remark.
Hump the hammer. Hump the hammer.
That's right. Hump the hammer.
All right. Yeah, no, it was really a great opportunity to actually share as not only as a leader, but also someone who's holding a life insurance through Immaculate. To be honest, I'm talking as a witness. I'm not talking as just a leader. Kind of like it's not like it's not like a marketing or
Right.
like an approach of spreading what you don't believe in.
You're a
I do
witness.
believe in it. I'm the witness, yes. So we are a living witness of for life insurance holders. It doesn't harm us at all, but I'm sure it could have been if it was not in the right time, being late and then struggle to actually have one. And what I can just tell our audience is get out of there, get out of your comfort zone. The comfort zone is not when you have nothing. The comfort zone is when you actually covered. That's what you call comfort zone. So comfort zone in this country is when you actually covered. So believe it, do it, and do it today. It doesn't have to take 2 days. If financially is a question, just talk to agent. They have means and proposals and options that you can actually, benefit from. I'm not really branding anybody. Obviously, I have already done it with Imakire because I hold the insurance from her, but she kind of like suffered from me for so many questions, and my wife, we are very diligent to ask questions. So, but just, there is no pressure of asking. The only issue we have as Rwandans or Africans, immigrants, we have potential of not trying. That's a huge challenge we always have. Just challenge, get in and challenge. If it's not meant for you financially today, it's okay, but at least learn, get educated, and then tomorrow it will be your turn. But do not stay away and then, and stay, I mean, expect that GoFund will do something. GoFund will go only for your body, but it won't help for the rest of your family. By insurance, life insurance only protect the rest, not you. Your body's gone. I mean, what else can we do? We pray, we cry, but protect the rest. So that's pretty much what I can say as a leader. That's what I want to see for my community, to actually really be proactive, not be reactive. And it helps a lot. Every reactive in this country, it's more expensive than being proactive. Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
respect your time. Thank you for inviting me. And sorry if I took you some time talking.
No, thank you. No, that's actually, I could listen to that for, till tomorrow morning. That's really worthwhile. Thank you so much for the very genuine sharing out of heart. And I think I see Kaneza trying to say something. Kaneza, Janine, go ahead. Go ahead. I see a sign on your name there.
No, I tried to say that I like this topic,
Yes.
and what Mr. Olivier said, having insurance is a peace of mind. You know, it's like when you get paid from your job, you feel happy. Then when you get your insurance, it's the same thing. At the end of the day, we're all gonna go, but what can we do for our loved ones? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's very genuine. And it could not be even more true than that. I see my leader. Actually, I have several leaders of mine here tonight. Roy, please go ahead. Go ahead, share something before I close it off here. I see Dr. Sharon. I love your insights. Anything you want to add on what we shared tonight? Because I know we have the same cause on this. I may have to put you guys in a very awkward position when I call out your name, but go ahead, Sharon. Thank you.
Yeah, no, this was really good. I liked that illustration you showed of how, over the years, I can see it personally that these are some exciting years when you've just finished college and you have an actual proper job, and it's tempting to feel like it's okay, you don't have many responsibilities, and
Yes.
why think about retirement now? But it's actually like you showed, at some point the income will plateau. So you have to think about ways to make assets that will push you when the income is actually starting to reduce. Yeah, so
Yes.
thank you for the presentation.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you again. I gotta wrap it up. If you have any questions, please reach out to the person that invited you here, or your local leaders, your community leaders, your financial professionals. It is always a pleasure. Remember, we have you guys covered for this every Thursday evening. And to my conclusion here, as leaders, and everybody, by the way, as we defined, remember, we defined the leaders. We defined the leaders as a community of people, those that are leading communities of people, of shared interests, shared goals, shared beliefs, and shared destinations. So everyone would be a leader by, having a family, having folks that depend on you. If you have any dependents or people that you oversee. So we really challenge everyone to embrace this, take it on, sit on it, think through, ponder, look at how you can move your people forward in this advanced economy. It's always a pleasure to share and learn from you guys on every Thursday as we get to share always. For that, I want to say thank you again for your attention. Until next time on Thursdays. Have a good one.
Good night, everyone.